Cows and apple trees, hallmarks of Normandy, France. The historic village of Domfront, with its 4,000 inhabitants, lies between Paris and the English Channel. The relative isolation belies the fact that economic problems have long since made their way here, and sometimes seem even harder to solve than in the big city. A fact Gérard Lebaudy is well aware of. He owns the local cookie factory. The family-owned business bakes 150,000 cookies an hour, from regional specialties to diet cookies. Annual turnover is 20 million euros, but exporting the products is getting increasingly difficult.
The euro has made things very difficult, especially in Southeast Asia with the yen and North America with the dollar. We've been present in those markets for the past 2 years, but despite our efforts, we're not making much headway there. In the US, we're doing a bit better.
Cookie prices within Europe have risen as well, as a direct result of increased grain and milk prices. A mid-sized firm like Lebaudy doesn't have as much leeway as larger competitors. This has added to his difficulties, which began a few years ago when the left-wing government implemented the 35-hour work week in France.
35 hours for the same salary. That increased our expenses by 10%. To offset the cost, we issued a contract which spread workers' time out over the year to achieve a degree of flexibility.
In fact, no one works a 35-hour week here. They all clock around 39. The 4 hours overtime are then saved towards time off.
If you have a family and children, it's a bit easier now to get to the doctors. And we have 5 weeks vacation. If you save up, you can even get a week more.
The union representative in Domfront doesn't approve of overtime. He's pushing businesses to hire more people and not dilute the 35-hour week regulation.
In most cases, employees are forced to work overtime. All right, they're compensated with vacation time, but people should be allowed to decide for themselves if they want to do overtime or not. They're often pushed into it when there's a lot of work to do, and then they're made to take their holiday when there's less work at hand.
Closing time at the cookie factory, at least for Erika Leblanc. She and her friend Catherine want to do a bit of shopping. They've waited for the sales to save money. Life is getting more expensive in France. Consumer prices rose by 3.3% last year alone.
€6 for a plastic bag, that's too expensive.
Their diminishing purchasing power is upsetting the French. Erika doesn't buy much from large supermarkets anymore, opting instead for discount retailers. A few years ago, middle-class French wouldn't have considered that a necessity.
There are things that we consider a treat today, something you can do without. For example, recently I wanted a piece of smoked sausage. It cost €5.35 for a small piece. I put it back and bought something else.
Filling her shopping bag cost her €80, whereas she used to fill an entire cart for that amount. At the gas station, the French now pay €1.40 for a litre of diesel. That really hurts, especially in rural regions.
There are no buses out where I live. The nearest train station is 40 kilometers away. So if you don't have a car, you can't work, you can't get around. Out here in the country, you're forced to have a car.
Many French are facing the same difficulties as Erika. The restrictions are still bearable for the moment, but rising prices give everyone cause to fear that their standard of living might soon vanish forever.